What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Malefic deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck summons out absolutely massive boss monsters to OTK your opponent with, which is just super fun. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of Notification Squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name scratched for every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Malefic Paradigm Dragon. This card is an amazing boss monster that's super easy to summon to your side of the field with the ability to kind of be normal summoner set. It must be special summoned from your hand by banishing 1 Malefic monster from your extract while Malefic Paradigm Dragon is not on the field. And if Malefic World is not on the field, destroy this card. But this card is super easy to put on your side of the field by just banishing your copy of Paradox Dragon from the extra deck. This card has also got a really insane ability that once per turn, you can send a Malefic card from your deck to the graveyard. Then return one of your banished level 8 synchro monsters to the extract. Then you can special summon that monster from the extract. Also, you can only attack Malefic monsters for the rest of the turn, which is a really cool ability for this card to have. We then play 3 copies of Malefic Cyber End Dragon. This card is just a really big monster that you can summon out to your side of the field extremely easily to OTK your opponent with. We then play 3 copies of Malefic Stardust Dragon. Malefic Stardust Dragon is an amazing 3-of in the deck because this card gives you some protection for your field spell, which is super cool because field spell cards cannot be destroyed by card effects while this card is on the field, which is an amazing effect. We then play a single copy of Malefic Rainbow Dragon. Malefic Rainbow Dragon is a really good 1-of in the deck that's very easy to summon out to your side of the field, but you just want to play a single copy of this card in the deck because unlike your copy of Malefic Cyber End and your copy of Stardust Dragon, you have to banish a copy of Rainbow Dragon from the deck where your copy of Malefic Cyber End and Stardust Dragon can banish the respective copies that they need to be able to summon out to your side of the field from the extra deck. So this card does require you to play a single copy of the original Rainbow Dragon, which is a great card to be able to play in the deck, to be able to work with our draw spells that we're playing later, but also to work with your copy of Malefic Rainbow Dragon so you can summon it out to your side of the field. And this card is really good as a 1-of in the deck, and it's a really big monster to summon out to your side of the field, but you're never summoning out the copy of Rainbow Dragon, you're just using this card to summon out Malefic Rainbow Dragon. We then play 3 copies of Malefic Paradox Gear. Malefic Paradox Gear is a great 3-of in the deck because this card helps you out so much. It's one of the most powerful cards in the entire deck because if a face-up field spell is on the field, you can tribute this card to special summon a Malefic Parallel Gear from your deck, then add a Malefic monster from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card. And it also has the ability that if a Malefic monster would banish a monster to special summon itself, by its own effect, you can banish this card that you control or in your graveyard instead, which is a great ability for this card to have, just to be able to use this card as basically the cost to summon out your Malefic monsters, which is super cool. I love that about this card, and it makes it super easy to summon out your Malefic cards. This card helps out with the consistency a lot. We then play 3 copies of Parallel Gear. Parallel Gear is great as a 3-of because this card helps you go into a bunch of different synchro plays, which is amazing because when this card is used as a synchro material, the other synchro material is 1 Malefic monster in your hand, making it super easy to synchro summon into a bunch of really powerful cards. And it's like playing 6 copies of this card in the deck with your copy of Paradox Gear, which is just super cool. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is an amazing 1-of in the deck, just to make sure you're going to be able to get to your copy of your field spell, Malefic World. We then play a single copy of Call by the Grave. Call by the Grave is great just to stop your opponent from hand trapping you while you're going in for all of your plays. We then play a single copy of Malefic Divide. Malefic Divide is great as a 1-of in the build, because this card is basically like Monster Reborn from Malefic, which is just super cool. We then play 2 copies of Malefic Selector. This card is really great as a 2-of in the deck, but you can brick if you play 3 copies, which is why I just like 2 copies, because it does require require you to banish 2 Malefic cards from your graveyard to add 2 Malefic cards from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card with different names from each other and from the banished cards, meaning this card is a great 2-of in the deck to be able to search out the exact cards that you need from your deck to your hand, but it does require a little bit of setup, which is why I just play 2 copies in the build. We then play 3 copies of Malefic World. Malefic World is an insane field spell, and this card is really good as a 3-of in the build because you want to have this card on your side of the field because the entire deck revolves around this card. This card has the ability, while this card is face up on the field, you can activate this effect instead of conducting your normal draw during your draw phase. That you choose 3 Malefic cards from your deck and have your opponent pick one of them at random and add it to your hand and shuffle the rest back in the deck, which is a really good effect to be able to use to get the exact Malefic card that you need off this card's ability. We then play 3 copies of Malefic Territory. Malefic Territory is an amazing 3-of in the deck because this card has the ability, when this card is activated, you can activate a Malefic World from your deck, meaning you're basically playing like 7 copies of Malefic World with this card, Terraforming, and Malefic World itself, meaning it's super easy to put your copy of Malefic World on your side of the field, on top of all the draw spells we play in the deck. But you always want to see this card because this card also has a really cool ability that while this card, or while that card is in the field spell zone, neither player can target a card in the field spell zone with card effects, and the Malefic monster effect that there can only be one face-up Malefic monster on the field becomes there can only be one face-up Malefic monster on the field with the same name, basically getting rid of the super bad effect that your Malefic monsters have and replacing it with you can only have one of each name, meaning you need to get to this card extremely quickly so you can summon out multiple Malefic monsters to your side of the field. And during the battle phase, negate the effects of face-up Malefic monsters on the field, which is great about this card to basically just turn off their effects so they just turn into really big monsters that you can swing with, because the majority of them have 4,000 attack points, meaning it's super easy to put 2 on the field and then just swing in for game. We then play 3 copies of the level 10 draw spell. This card is amazing in the deck because we play so many level 10s in the deck. And this card just makes it super easy to draw to, which is just really nice. Speaking of draw to, we also play 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. Allure of Darkness is great in the deck because we play a lot of darks in the deck. So this card just helps you dig into the deck for cards like Malefic Territory, which you really need to get to, which is why I'm playing basically 6 draw spells in the deck so we can get to it. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Skill Drain. Skill Drain is very important just to turn off your Malefic monsters' abilities so they just become really big monsters that you can swing with. But this card is also very good because it hurts the opponent a lot more than it hurts us, because this card really benefits you when you put it on your side of the field, turning off all your Malefic monsters' abilities. We then play 3 copies of Gozen Match. Gozen Match is great in the deck, so we're pretty much only summoning Dark in this deck. So this card is really good to be able to just basically lock us into Dark, but also lock our opponent into an attribute, which is just super cool about this card. This card is a great floodgate to be able to play in the deck, but I highly recommend playing Skill Drain in the deck because Skill Drain just helps us out so much, turning off the super bad effects of your Malefic monsters. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start off with Malefic Paradox Dragon. You really only need 2 copies of this card, but it's a really good 2-of in the extra deck, because when this card is synchro summoned, you can select a synchro monster in either player's graveyard and special summon it, which is a pretty good effect for this card to have. I really like this card as a 2-of in the deck because it does come out at 4,000 attack points, but you're usually using this card for your copy of Paradigm Dragon. We then play a single copy of Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel is actually very easy to summon out to your side of the field because it does not require a tuner monster to make this card. It just requires light and dark monsters, and you can treat one of those light or dark monsters as a material that's actually a tuner, which is super cool to be able to make this card. This card is really good in the deck because if you use light monsters to make this card, then single monsters you control are unaffected by monster effects activated by your opponent, and if you use dark, then monsters that you control cannot be destroyed by battle. But with monsters that are coming out at like 4,000 attack points, it's not going to come up that often that your opponent's going to swing over them. We then play a single copy of Barrel and Defleur. Barrel and Defleur is very easy to make in the deck, which is why we're playing this card as one of, because it's a walking gate and probably one of the most powerful level 10s ever created. We then play a single copy of Final Sigma. Final Sigma is very easy to make as well, because you just use your copy of your Parallel Gear plus a level 10 to make this card, put in the extra monster zone, and it's a really big monster that's just really crazy because it's unaffected by other card effects except Math Mech cards while in the extra monster zone. So you're always going to want to put this card in the extra monster zone. It's just a really good card overall. We then play 2 copies of Stardust Dragon. Stardust Dragon so we can use it with this Malefic version. And then we play 2 copies of Cyber End Dragon, which is so we can use this card with Malefic Cyber End Dragon so we can summon it out to our side of the field. We then play a single copy of Gustav Max. Gustav Max is so we can do burn damage to the opponent so we can close out games. And this card also helps us go into our copy of Juggernaut Leap. Juggernaut Leap is amazing to be able to make in the deck because this card helps us OTK our opponent even easier, which is just super, super cool. We then play a single copy of a Ravenous Tarantula. Ravenous Tarantula is great in the deck because it basically makes all of our monsters go up by the difference between our life points and our opponent's life points, which is just super cool because it makes our big monsters even bigger. We then play a single copy of number 77. Number 77 is great to be able to overlay on top of your copy of number 35 to give your copy of Zeus an additional material, but also summon out another 4,000 attack point boss monster. We then play a single copy of Double A Zeus. Double A Zeus is great to be able to board wipe the field, plus you can make it on top of your copy of number 77, which is really cool. And then finally play a single copy of Typhon. Typhon's just great in the deck because you can make it on top of pretty much anything, which is amazing. And this card is just crazy because it's a bounce, and it's also like a skill drain, which is insane. And it's really good, and it's just overall one of the most powerful cards ever created, and I absolutely love Typhon. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you guys have never played Malefic before, you should definitely give this deck a try. It's pretty easy to play. You basically just summon out big monsters and swing at your opponent, which is just really cool. And I love that about this deck. And it's super fun to be able to play because there's so many cool nostalgic dragons that they've turned into Malefic monsters, which is just amazing. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and there so you can become part of the notification squad. We'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.